Hi, my name is Peter Strong. I am a online psychotherapist and counselor, and I specialize in mindfulness-based therapy. This is proving to be particularly popular these days. So why do we want to do therapy online, you may ask? Well, the greatest reason that people tell me is the convenience of it. This gives people a chance to discuss their emotional issues, their anxiety or depression, um, at their convenience rather than having to drive to a therapist's office. That's one thing. Secondly, there's plenty of evidence now being published from studies on the equivalence of the online medium, especially using Skype or some video call technology, to face-to-face traditional psychotherapy. But also many people just are not able to have access to a therapist if they live in rural areas, um, or of course some people, like those suffering from severe social anxiety and agoraphobia, find it difficult to leave home. At any rate, online mindfulness therapy is one of the exciting new developments in this form of psychotherapy. What is mindfulness therapy? Well, mindfulness is a very ancient technique developed by the Buddha 2,500 years ago and is now finding tremendous applications in modern psychotherapy. And basically this describes a way of working with emotions such as anxiety and depression at a very deep level rather than simply talking about them. Okay, so in mindfulness therapy there's actually three things that go on. The first level, the first phase of therapy is called recognition, at least in the system that I teach. And this basically is training you to become aware of your patterns of negative thinking and emotional reactivity. Normally these patterns become habitual and operate automatically, and we're not that aware of them, only of the suffering that they produce. So the first phase is you have to start to learn to recognize these patterns with mindfulness, becoming very aware of them. The second phase is called the relationship phase, and this is where you start to build a relationship where you investigate the emotion very closely, not at the thinking level, but at the feeling level, because it's the feeling level of the belief or memory or uh, uh, patterns of negative thinking. It's the feeling level that keeps them alive. So the purpose of meditation therapy using mindfulness is to try and resolve this trapped emotional energy. Okay, and the third phase is called the resolution phase, where we start to explore exactly how this trapped emotional energy can unfold and release itself at the sensory level. This often involves lots of experiential imagery. When people have a traumatic memory, they usually have a very vivid form of imagery associated with that memory. Once you begin to see the structure of that imagery in the kind of colors, the shapes, and other specific aspects of, or properties of the imagery, then you have something very tangible to work with. And, as the theory says, as you change the properties of the imagery, so the emotional intensity also changes. And in the work of mindfulness therapy, we are continually investigating what specific changes lead to the resolution of your anxiety or depression. And that describes the three phases then. The recognition phase, we say you have to start to learn to recognize what is going on and awakening to the patterns that are sustaining your suffering. But the second phase is very, very important, where you start to build a internal therapeutic space around the emotion, rather than reacting to it and with aversion, or reacting to it with denial or avoidance, or even reacting to it through proliferating thinking. It's only when you can sit still with your inner pain, with that quality of compassion and engaged presence, which is one of my definitions of mindfulness. Being very, very still and listening at a very subtle level. This is when change starts to happen. This is the inner therapeutic space in which change begins to happen quite naturally by itself. Most of our problem is that we get in the way of this natural healing process through inattention, through unawareness. So mindfulness is the means that facilitates the process of this natural healing and the growth of natural intelligence, creativity and intuition that leads to greater happiness and a sense of fulfillment in life. And this is what we cultivate in mindfulness therapy. So if you are interested in this approach, please send me an email. I am happy to discuss your needs with you. There is no charge for an email consultation, and I will answer your questions. And if you would like to schedule a Skype session, it's very straightforward. All you need is a computer with a video cam, mic. Most laptops have these built in, and you need a copy of Skype, which can be downloaded for free. Just give me an email when you're ready to start, and we will schedule a session. It doesn't matter where you live. I work with people throughout North America and in Europe and in Australia as well. We just have to schedule a time. So please send me an email. Thank you.